Welcome back to the Cactus Atlas. Previously, we left Peach Springs, Arizona, blew by Hackberry for the first time. You're the Route 66 spokesperson. And got our truck slim, cleaned up for some glamour shots at the Route 66 gate. Or, we tried. Aw, man. Now it's just like slimy mud dripping down the window.
Great idea, Glenn. Now I'm a slimy mess.
Now it's time to hit up Kingman, meet up with a new friend, and check out the next stay of our historic lodgings. Now, we have been at this place once before. This is a fantastic little museum. I want to say I stopped here before my excursion into Oatman, if I'm not mistaken, something around that time, probably a couple years ago. I don't remember a lot of it. It's the 100-year anniversary. That seems like a worthy stop. Maybe there's new stuff. But now that I've been diving in deeper into Route 66, I think I'm going to appreciate this even more. See, when you first come in, you got a gift shop. No admission required for this part when you arrive. Restrooms, whatever you need. But I guess when you go upstairs, which we're about to do, it's $10. Welcome to Route 66. It's a Jackrabbit trading post signs. I've seen so many of those on this segment, but that's actually out past Flagstaff towards New Mexico even. All right, let's go buy admission for one. This is a good spot to preview from up here. Cool Springs. I wonder if that's an original. Oh, this is cool. If you've been following our episodes, you know I got a picture with this guy, kinda, sitting in that very chair, I think. I think that's in that exact spot. Of course, it's a cardboard cutout of Mr. Delgadillo, but very important person and family when it comes to preserving and supporting the tourism industry of Route 66. Huh, that's funny. There you go. You can actually go to, it's in Seligman, but they have the exact same photo op in the real place. So since we've already gotten that, I'm not gonna redo it, but it's kind of funny. If you've been a really long-term fan and haven't missed a single episode, a couple years ago I was here, so this may be a little redundant for one or two people out there, but I imagine most haven't even seen that. But I think now, like I said, even starting off, seeing that display about Mr. Delgadillo is really cool, because now I know who he is, I understand the significance, whereas a couple years ago, I would not have had a clue. And even things like this, you see all of like the major towns on Route 66 from Flagstaff to Williams, where we kind of started. We were just in Ash Fork. I was actually not doing routes. I was actually on a very old segment of Route 66 near Ash Fork. There's nothing on it. It's just like torn up pavement now. Seligman, of course, Peach Springs, Hackberry, Kingman. The only one that's going to be missing really from this is Oatman. We're not going to go that far. It's kind of sad. We've done Oatman though. I did a episode in Oatman once, but it's this kind of era that I think that I would be most interested in, getting deep, doing the deep cuts of Route 66, as opposed to later on. But I'm kind of digging later on stuff now too. I think this early part is kind of devoted to the earlier years of Route 66. So, like I said, it's the period of time that I dig the most. And I don't think this display here is really necessarily meant to be Route 66 per se. This is more about manifest destiny and settlers heading out west. According to the signs, I would say the precursor to being able to have things like Route 66. If it wasn't for people that traveled in wagons like this, there would be no Route 66 today. You can see this museum is very well done and fantastic. And I think I'm the only one back here at the moment. Oh, this is kind of cool. Let's kind of map our adventure from this trip. In fact, we can do that. Oh, wow, look at this. You guys who've watched the last couple weeks should know exactly what that is. And that actually confirms something I was surmising about. I literally made an episode about the Johnson Train Tunnel in Johnson Canyon, which you can still go visit today. I went into this very tunnel, opened in 1882. So this is an Old West segment of track that kind of operated, I think, through World War II years. And we were talking about how they built like a flimsy bridge, I think a couple. And I saw the spot right here where now they filled it in with dirt. So today that doesn't exist. The tracks are gone, but the bed is still there. So you walk about 2 miles from the closest place you can park all the way out to the tunnel. I went in the tunnel, out the other side, and then back and walked. It's very remote though. It's not for everybody. But if you want to see that, check that out, because that is exactly what I wanted to see. Although my trip hasn't been devoted to Route 66 the whole time, I did stay in Williams. It kind of was the start of it all. Came up through Sedona, explored the forests south of Williams. So if you're curious what's out in the wilderness, watch that video. But I did stay in a brothel, a historic brothel in Williams, overnight. Then we headed out this ways to the Ash Fork area. This here is kind of off, it's not off of exactly on Route 66. I wouldn't really call that a Route 66 attraction. It's just coincidentally not far from there, but up north of it, out in the desert. So if you're wondering what's out there, a good example of that. And then of course we headed further west. We actually kind of skipped all of that and we picked up here. And then 2 episodes ago, we went from here to here, and that's where I spent the night last night, checked out this morning, drove to the Grand Canyon, and then this episode started here, and we drove all the way down to Kingman. What I originally wanted to do was to start like in Gallup, New Mexico, and do all of Arizona. Like this basically is representing the whole Route 66 of Arizona. So what I'm trying to point out to you is we did just kind of a small section of it, like approximately Williams to Kingman, but we also kind of, saw stuff between here and here, skipped all of that, and then picked up there, and like I said, plop. And actually, I recognize already, we literally just drove by the Hotel Beale, and I think that same sign was still there. So I think we drove, in essence, right past that, going that direction. Oh, I remember this, I think from the first time. This is kind of a depiction of Depression era travel, people having to pack it up and move to find work and make a better life. This would be, you wouldn't have moving companies back then. You couldn't call like United Van Lines or something like that to come pick you up. You'd be probably packing a family up in a old truck like this and packing all your stuff in, almost like a prairie schooner fueled by gas, if you think about it. I'm enjoying this museum better the second time than the first time, to be honest, because now it has a lot more meaning to me. I assume that's the segment that goes out to Oatman. That looks like the crazy, steep, dangerous spot. chances are we've seen something just like this, but all rusted out in one of the many spots we drove by. Now I'm wondering if this was the same type of vehicle used in the Muppet movie. Remember the scene where Fozzie and Kermit are driving? It's like moving right along, yeah, footloose and fancy free. I could hear it in my head. Oh, cool. They got a Babbitt Brothers Trading Company thing here. You know, I can say the museum is that much more impactful after you've driven around and seen some of these towns. Because I think when I first came here, I think it was early on, and I was going out to Oatman, not even so much for the Route 66 part of it, just like the Old West kind of mining town or ghost town part of it. So when I came in here, you know, a lot of these subjects, even things that I coincidentally studied later on, they all now have meaning to me. So most of the stuff, like in a scary way, I know a lot of this stuff now. Like I could tell you those are two of the Harvey girls. Oh, let's go see what's downstairs next. Oh, that's cool. That's an old picture of this powerhouse that we're currently in. Like that's, the bottom is what it looks like now as you saw coming in, and then you got the what it used to look like. And here's another thing, right? We saw, it would have been yesterday's episode or last week's episode when I was driving to Peach Springs. You see all those Burma Shave signs. They're kind of humorous signs along the road where every several hundred feet there's a new sign that's kind of formulating a thought. And I love doing that. It's just, to me, that's just fun. I remember the last time I was here, I had a hard time filming in here because it was filled with people and screaming kids, I remember. Look at that. This is country music legend Waylon Jennings' Mercedes-style golf cart. And you got Waylon and Willie. And then you got, I guess, Willie Nelson's. Look at the embroidered seats. Huh. Wow. It's like a jet car. And like old like golf carts. You got quite the golf cart collection here. And one of my all-time favorites, I would say, the Porsche, specifically models like this. Late 70s, early 80s. Oh, 1983. Porsche 911 SC. That's more my speed these days. If I could just rewind time and we can go back to that, I'd be plenty happy. With all this AI nonsense these days, it's just taking all the fun out of life. Oh, this one over here looks like another one that's my speed. What is this? The Detroit Electric. So this is an old electric car? Like an old-timey electric car? Manufactured by the Anderson Electric, later Detroit Electric Car Company. Production began in 1907 to late 1938. It could go 80 miles, but it usually was higher, and the record was it went 211 miles on one charge. Top speed of 20 miles an hour would have cost you $2,885 in 1922 money. So electric vehicles are not a new thing, I guess. That's cool. I didn't know about that. Look at the interior of that thing. It's really ornate, like red velvet seats or something like that, and like curtains, and that's fancy. So I think we're making perfect timing. It's 2:30. I feel like we did a good job on the museum, actually. I mean, I read a few things for myself and looked at some of the photos I filmed kind of the walkthrough. I know from your perspective it looks like a quick blow through. To be honest, I mean, it is a pretty quick museum. It's a big building. There is a lot to read and see, but it's not as cram-packed as you might think. So I don't know. I'm trying to think. It was what, $10? I think is what it cost to come in. I guess that's fair. It's not. If they were charging like $20, I might complain and say, really, $10 seems to be okay for what you get. The thing that makes the $10 worthwhile to me is that it is a very high quality, well put together museum. The displays are beautiful. There's a couple cool exhibits up there. It's very colorful, fun to look at. I particularly enjoyed the old photos that they had, that they were showing up there, and then kind of like that Johnson train tunnel picture we saw is probably the highlight for me, even though that really technically has nothing to do with Route 66 at all. It's more, like I said, that is an Old West 1880s train tunnel that was modified over time, of course, and operated, I think, through World War II era, of course, but it really is a remnant of the 1800s. But it's kind of interesting they put that on there, because I wouldn't, unless it was part of Route 66 tourism back in the day. Doubtful it was, but kind of an interesting thing that they had on display there, actually. All right, let's go back out to our buddy Slim. See how he's doing in this windy world. Oh, actually, we're not outside yet. I thought this was gonna just take us straight out, but it takes you through the gift shop. How strategic. I'm almost fearful to show this now. If only that were the case. 32 cents per gallon. All right, we'll just kind of peruse through here and see what they got for sale. You got rum and vodka, if you desire. Just don't drink it while you're driving down Route 66 and you're all good. A lot of t-shirts. These are the women's offerings, it looks like. Oh, that's actually kind of a cool shirt. I like alien stuff. Are these actually old license plates that you can buy? Like authentic? Yeah, $30. Vintage plates. Maybe one day I need to start collecting that. And you, of course, have all of your traditional gift shop fare. Since he's been mentioned multiple times, that guy Justin Scard actually has a hot sauce, and I'm trying to see if he somehow got his in here. And if not, he needs to come do that. I don't see it. But I do see a lot of like usual suspects that you see. Like this stuff. Sting and linger. I figure by the time I get back to my truck, get situated, plot my route back to the El Trovatore, drive there, it'll be close enough to check-in time, and they'll probably let me in with no problem. Probably would let me in now if I showed up, I would guess. There you have it, folks. The Kingman Visitor Center actually is what it is. So when I said museum, there must be a Route 66 museum in addition to this somewhere, because I was thinking this was the Route 66 museum, but it was taking me somewhere else, and maybe that explains it. But the Visitor Center clearly is part museum too. All right, I'm actually gonna drive through the sign one more time. I'm not gonna get out and take a picture again, but why not, right? There's nobody here in line yet anyway. All right, we're just gonna drive through it. We're not actually going to get out and take my picture. You guys need to move, you know. All right, let's drive through. And there we go, we did it. We did it. Got to go through the gate twice today. 2 times today. What a treat. All right, let's head over to that historic Route 66 hotel or motel, the El Trovatore. And then we'll should have time to actually give you a little room tour and check it out. There's the Hotel Beale. Like, this is that section we were just looking at in the old photos. It used to have so many neon signs and was a hopping place, man. Probably still is to some extent, but we're now heading back to the El Trovatore. Now that I know where it is, it's easy to spot because it's got that tower that says El Trovatore on it. So kind of an easy landmark to spot. I think it should be on our right. But we're basically heading back down Route 66 the way we came after we got the car wash to get Slim ready for his picture. Which, by the way, if I didn't say so, I think those glamour shots are gonna come out pretty good. One of them might even be thumbnail worthy, dare I say. And the mighty Wallapai Mountains are in the background over there. It's just so cool to see them because I know what it's like being up high on those dirt roads up there. It's an adventure, man. It's an adventure. Where are you, El Trovatore? There it is. Look at that cool sign too. If I say hotel, forgive me, because it's a motel. How do I get in here? That was the real question. Right here, I presume. I don't know where else it would be.
Your destination is on the right.
All right, let's go check out this classic Route 66 motel. Look at that big Route 66 sign on the pavement, if you could see that. Question is, where do I park to check in? I guess the office is there. I'm just gonna pull up right here, actually. And I'm gonna go in, take care of business, and then we'll go off on foot and check out our room. Hey everybody, I'm back here at the El Trovatore. I arrived earlier. I haven't yet given you the tour yet. I actually was meeting a new friend here in Kingman and got taken around to see some sights and grabbed a bite to eat at a classic establishment out here and had a really good time. So got a surprise. Let me show you who I'm talking about. All right, I'm back everybody at the El Trovatore, and I ran into somebody here in Kingman, so you probably know who he is, but check this out. Oops.
Hey everybody, and hi Glenn.
Hey.
Cactus Atlas. This is Russ, RVerTV. Hello all.
Hey. So Russ just took me out around the town. He showed me some awesome sights. He treated me to something to eat. What's the name of the place we went to again?
Rutherford's. It's the old Route 66 diner right up the road here.
Okay.
All these old motels through here are all themed
Okay, yeah.
for the route. Coming up pretty soon will be the May Fun Run, all kinds of stuff. Glenn's up here filming all kinds of stuff along the old route.
I am. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're showing me all the secret spots too.
Heck yeah.
So
Yeah, just took him out to Fort Beale, the camp out there,
Yeah.
the spring, all the historic old wagon grooves in the dirt and all that. But yeah, having a real good visit with Glenn, and I highly recommend Glenn's channel.
Well, thank you very much. I'm humbled, actually. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Russ. Well, it's been awesome. So thank you so much.
It's been an honor to see you and meet you, sir.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay, you take care.
All right. So yeah, I actually got to hang out with Russ from RVerTV today. It's actually the first time I've ever hung out with another YouTuber, to be honest with you, and you guys kind of know me. I'm oftentimes a lone wolf on this channel, and I don't really do a lot of that stuff. Usually kind of shy about those things, but for him it was weird because I've watched his channel for many years. We were trading stories and I was telling him some of his videos that I watched. He had one that he drove up to the Boreana mine, which is in the Wallapai Mountains right across the way here in Kingman, and inspired me to do the same thing. And it's kind of cool to trade stories, but I always related to his content. It's like, you know, there's just something that was really relatable and I liked, and his personality was really cool. So I can tell you this, he is exactly in real life like what he is on his videos. He's really nice, kind, awesome guy, really easygoing. It was really natural, easy to hang out with. So in case you're out there, Russ, watching this, thanks again, man. I had a really good time actually, and it was really refreshing to do that. I need to do more of that sort of thing. So I'm going to film a little bit here at the El Trovatore to kind of tie up our Route 66 adventure. It only seems appropriate to do so today. So let's kind of start off with like the basics of where we're at. Of course, if this doesn't give it away, this giant Route 66 sign painted into the pavement, I don't know what will. But look at this classic Route 66 motel sign, and it's beautiful. I love this sort of stuff. So I was looking for a motel that definitely had the history and some stories behind it. And I like older establishments like this, so it's my preference. And I would say from a budget perspective, definitely for me a nice budget motel. So you kind of get the best of all worlds. So I'm gonna give you a tour of my room and show you what that's like here in a second, but such a cool property. There's lots of cool murals everywhere, and let's check out this sign here. Trovatore is Italian for troubadour or traveler. Okay, I didn't know that, so we learn something new every day, but let's see here. I know this hotel does have history to it. I know there's some, even to this day on the property, there's original buildings that date back, I think, to the World War II era, but definitely a very important property for Route 66. But I think what we'll do really quick here is I'm gonna just give you the quick room tour. You know, maybe we'll scan the property really quick, but you know, classic motel. I like motels better than hotels because I just like pulling up right up to my parking spot, getting out and going straight into the room, and being able to see my vehicle out the window is nice too. But really cool thing, and you got that classic sign up there. The owner and I talked for, I don't know, like over an hour. Really cool people here. That's one thing I'll tell you about in a minute, but you know, he was telling me about the sign, some of the troubles they have with it. It got struck by lightning, but you know, like I would say if anything, it's worth staying here just to hear all the stories and hear all the history that they have. They're very knowledgeable about the area here and very willing and wanting and passionate about sharing that information. And of course, this should give us a clue as to where I'm staying, right? So I'm in room 109, which has a claim to fame, apparently, I was told, which is really cool. Let's go on in here and check this out. So this is my room here at the El Trovatore. And as you see this, some of you, because I know some of you are probably like this, are gonna think this is a little bit dated, kind of older looking, and you know what? It is, and I'd have it no other way, to be honest with you. For me, this is the best case scenario. Even some of the places I've stayed at, like the Red Garter Inn, definitely felt of the period or whatever, but it was just, you know, they did a beautiful job updating it, but you know, it seemed more updated behind the scenes when you start picking it apart a little bit. But this here definitely just feels, it's got the feel of the period to me. Even though they have modernized and did some touches, like they've got this nice modern flooring they put in. But when we go into the bathroom, you'll see what I mean. But the coolest thing, I think, is this. So you see James Dean, and James Dean. And why would James Dean be all over the room, you ask? So it's my understanding, I'm being told that James Dean stayed in this room. So I just realized something. If my memory serves me well, I think I've actually now stayed in 2 hotel rooms where James Dean actually spent the night. The other was Marfa, Texas. So completely coincidental. I wasn't seeking out James Dean specifically. They actually gave me a choice. Like we were picking a room, it was either the room that James Dean stayed in or Marilyn Monroe. And I had a really difficult time, actually. For me, it's a coin flip. I think both are really awesome. I like both. But James Dean is just too cool for school. So I had to pick the James Dean room. I could still smell the cigarette smoke, I think, left over from when that guy spent the night here. But anyway, so one of the classic rooms here at the El Trovatore. Well, let's look at the restroom, and I'll show you like some of the where you really see the age, which once again, I want to be clear, I love it. So, but I know some people probably would complain. But you can see they have this old bathtub. I think it's defunct and not being used. I need to go ask the guy. I mean, that looks like an antique to me. That looks old. That tile looks old. So I'm just wondering, clearly it doesn't look like it's in use. I mean, there's no handles. You couldn't turn on the water if you wanted to. But I'm just wondering, did they leave this in here as kind of an artifact? Is that the original tub from back in the day? Did Mr. James Dean take a bath and smoke his cigarettes in there while he was taking his bath? Very possible. So yeah, you have, here's your sink. I love the way that's built into the corner like that. I mean, the toilet's looks kind of newer, I guess, but doesn't have the tank in the background. But the shower is really where you kind of start to really get the sense of it. But definitely an old school shower in here. In fact, where's that's an interesting way to do it. Like the water, the hot and cold water is over here, but the actual shower head's on the opposite wall. I don't know if I've ever seen one like that before. But anyway, you could definitely tell. It's definitely got the age, the old plaster walls. But like I said, I love this stuff. This is, when I book hotels like this is what I actually am looking for and what I want. But at the same time, some places like this that I stayed in, really, I've talked about it before, have a really dingy air to them, just kind of old smelling, stinky, mildewy, whatever that smell is. And this is another one where it smells like clean to me. It doesn't feel dingy. You get the look without the dinge. So I got to hang out with Russ from RVerTV, which quite honestly, I've been watching Russ for years. And then, talking to the owner about other YouTubers I love, like Justin and all that. It's just kind of a cool day today. It's really, I think Route 66 must be trying to reel me in or something like that. But I think I'm gonna maybe step outside one last time here before we end this video. But I thought here at the El Trovatore would be an appropriate place to tie together our video today. Wouldn't you agree? It's also like that time of day where you've got the nice, sun has set, but it's still light enough where you're getting the nice colors, the pinks in the sky, seeing that El Trovatore Route 66 sign up on the hill there. It's all the cool painted murals they have here. It's one thing the owner was telling me about, is they're doing a lot of work here at the hotel. He's having a lot of murals painted, so in fact, I need to go check one out before I leave, but I have a lot that I have to do to prepare for tomorrow. Now I've got more research to do, thanks to Russ. So let's cut it here, folks. Oh, there's a cat. So let's cut it here, folks. Been a really fun day. I got to check off a bunch of bucket list items, like hackberry, for example, and a lot of stuff here in Kingman too. So it's been an excellent day. I'm so happy that you came along for the ride once again, and continue to keep checking in week after week as we're gonna keep rolling them out. See you on the next one.